and welcome back to the Citizen Channel. Hope you're all staying safe and well. And yes, after the fallout from the Liverpool game, pre-match, post-match, everything around Klopp's words before the game, of course, not being able to compete, we found we got beat, didn't we? But yeah, it's always, there's a gentleman, a journalist who actually usually speaks, well, I say usually, I mean, sometimes he tells the truth and we don't like it, but we have to accept it. But he sort of goes against the grain with all of the journals. So I thought I'd just read his piece in the Daily Mail online today. Of course, I'm talking Martin Samuel reacting to the garbage that idiot Klopp puts out, certainly put out in his press conference, and all the hordes lap it up, of course, will lap it up. So I just thought I'd read it, because not everyone will have time to go on and read the thing, so I just thought I'd put it in verbally so you can have a quick look at what Martin Samuel actually said about Mr. Klopp's words. Please, if you are new to the channel, I do everything City, past, present, forever. Press that subscribe button. I try and inform and entertain if I can. Obviously, a bit more information vlog today anyway, but I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, we'll chat about this Martin Samuel sort of answer to what Klopp's been saying, the misunderstandings that Klopp's obviously latching onto, and we know what he's like. Right, let's get on with this. Yeah, Jurgen Klopp is wrong to claim that Manchester City spend what they want, says Martin. The Liverpool boss suggested City can spend more than others on players, but the Premier League champions are actually the league's smartest movers. Well, we know that, don't we? The Abu Dhabi-owned club didn't succumb to huge demands for Harry Kane. We didn't. They instead waited a year to activate Erling Haaland's release clause for just £51 million. But obviously, according to everyone else, it'll be a lot more than that, and he's costing us a fortune every week, isn't he? Well, there you go. But Man City are actually the lowest net spenders, says Martin, for the current season. We know that. Obviously, other people probably know it and just choose to ignore it. He goes on, if Manchester City generally could, as Jurgen Klopp believes, do what they want, then Harry Kane would be their striker, as would Erling Haaland. What a partnership. Not sure it'd work. The fact is, City did not do as they wanted over Kane, did not offer Tottenham the astronomical sum that would have made Kane's transfer impossible to refuse. Even on Haaland, they waited until his release clause was activated and bought him for a bargain £51.3 million. Doing what they wanted might have involved going a year earlier when Borussia Dortmund did not want to sell, and paying double or treble, yes, because we have got the money. It doesn't matter about FFP, it doesn't matter about anything else, does it? Ensuring they could not be gazumped by the wonderful, well, I put wonderful in, the wonderful Real Madrid, yeah, we know what they're like, or others. So City were prudent as well as patient. Martin goes on, setting Sunday's match up as the evil empire against the noble, straight-shooting underdogs. Yeah, the old plucky underdogs, as I stated, may have added to the febrile, well, it was certainly, what's one word for the atmosphere? Febrile atmosphere inside Anfield may have added to the coins, the graffiti, the file chanting, the absence of boundaries on both sides, and that's not to note what was largely a cracking atmosphere. But that is only part of the problem with what Klopp said on the eve of the game. The bottom line is he was wrong. City do not and cannot act as they please. No club can. There are rules regarding financial fair play. There is also good practice in the transfer market. City now adhere to both. The league table for net spending the 22-23 season may surprise. Which team is bottom? No, it's not Leicester City. They were widely agreed to have starved Brendan Rodgers of investment. He goes on to say, it's Manchester City because they sold three key players, Sterling, Jesus and Zinchenko, to make room for Haaland and, to a lesser extent, Calvin Phillips. So they didn't do as they wanted. They did what was smart, identify players who were coming to the end of their contracts or were expendable within the project, and cashed in as a way of supporting their investment. The idea that Manchester City are not confined by the same financial pressures as other clubs underplays the consistent intelligence of the trades made by Pep Guardiola and Director of Football, I'll just say Cheeky, I never know pronounce his surname. Michael Edwards, a former head of recruitment at Liverpool, was rightly afforded enormous credit for building a team that won the club its first Premier League title, and only, I think. Yet the buyers that ultimately made the difference were, at the time, the world's most expensive defender, Virgil van Dijk, and the most expensive goalkeeper in Alisson. The narrative has since developed that while Edwards was a bargain-hunting genius, Guardiola and Bergerstein are merely the fortunate beneficiaries of unlimited state wealth, even though they won the title last season with a start 11 that often failed to include a recognised striker. a left-back who cost 1.7 million from FC Ufa in Russia's first division. And obviously City's ambition to win the genuine titles, not triumph in some accountant's net spend table, but if one existed, they wouldn't be doing badly at all across the last 5 years. City would be 12th, Liverpool 9th. Obviously, it's better than near at the bottom. How is this calculated? Take every club's net spend each season, add it together, then divide by 5. United are top with an average of 105.4. And what a fabulous return they've had on that, by the way. Followed by Arsenal, 83.4. Chelsea, 78.6. These are all millions, by the way. West Ham, 65.8. And Newcastle, 59.3. Liverpool's average net spend is 36.3 million. City's 30.6 million, so hardly dissimilar. On wages too, across the 5 years from 2016-17 to 2021, no later figures have been released by any club. City spent 60% of their revenue on wages, Liverpool 61%. Although City's wage bill is 8.1% higher, 309 million to 284 million. And no, those numbers don't include Haaland. Then again, nor do they include Mo Salah's new deal, the most lucrative in Liverpool's history. So if City could do what they wanted, they are missing a trick. What we've been outspent by West Ham, yet that's the myth and the narrative Klopp perpetuates. He said there were 3 clubs in the world football who were beyond limitations. He also named Newcastle, and we can presume the third is PSG. So they're all lumped together again, the Arab states, just as they were when UEFA fined City and PSG, exactly the same for FFP rule breaches, even though their cases were far from identical. Just as they were in 2019, Javier Tebas, president of La Liga, said PSG and City distorted the transfer market when PSG had Neymar and Mbappe in their ranks, and City's record acquisition was Riyad Mahrez for £60 million. Whether willfully or otherwise, Klopp also misinterpreted the comments of Dan Ashworth, the sporting director of Newcastle, who spoke of there being no glass ceiling at this club. He's absolutely right, Klopp said. There's no ceiling for Newcastle. Even they got it in the neck, didn't they? Congratulations, some clubs have ceilings. Yet Ashworth was not talking about a ceiling on spending, as Klopp implied. He was talking about there being no limit on Newcastle's ambition. In spending terms, of course, there is a glass ceiling at Newcastle. That's why they've appointed Ashworth to work the transfer market and improve youth development, rather than just phoning Daniel Levy and asking him how much he wants for Kane. That's why in the same interview, Ashworth raised the possibility of selling arguably their best signing, Bruno Guimaraes, to raise money for the next round of recruitment, while Manchester United paid 70 million for Casemiro, who will be 31 in February. Newcastle shrewdly gave 30 million less for a 24-year-old Guimaraes, his Brazilian counterpart, and now coveted by Real Madrid as his replacement. So there is a ceiling for Newcastle, whose owners had the reserves to tell Madrid to go away and find their own rising stars, but cannot due to restrictions of financial fair play. FFP is the glass ceiling, and who pushes for its ever more stringent enforcement. Clubs like Liverpool, to protect their position with the elite, it is protectionist stance and always has been. The idea that the established European elite and in some way the rebel upstarts against PSG, City and Newcastle is perhaps the biggest con of all. Klopp has done a brilliant job. His club is superbly run from bottom to top, yet Liverpool are not the underdogs here. This summer they paid 85 million for a striker, Darwin Núñez, who has scored just 3 goals to Haaland's 20 and was not in the starting lineup on Sunday. In reverse, it could be considered the epitome of City doing what they like if one considers how the transfer of Jack Grealish has been received. The reality is that City have consistently withdrawn from auctions and negotiations for players when they have considered the value is no longer there. All of these players have then found homes with Premier League rivals. Fred, Harry Maguire, Sanchez went to United after City withdrew. Marc Cucurella and Kalidou Koulibaly to Chelsea. And it wasn't that City were bidding for bidding's sake. They definitely wanted a left-back, but instead of paying Brighton 60 million for Cucurella, gave Anderlecht 11 million for Sergio Gomez. Klopp is a populist. He tries to position his club this way too, even if Liverpool have been prime movers behind 2 of the most unpopular concepts in football history, Project Big Picture and the Super League. No doubt his disciples lap up the idea that Liverpool is some way disadvantaged, gamely challenging big, bad Manchester City. Yet where is the evidence? Liverpool have attained 90-plus points in 3 of the last 5 seasons, and Klopp has beaten Guardiola more times than any manager in history, including their last 3 meetings and 8 of the 18 games since they first locked horns in England. City have won just 4. It should be better than that, guys. Come on. Liverpool's most recent triumph was on Sunday. It was, sadly. They were the better side, possibly. by a goal on the day, not because they do what they want, but because they have the world's formerly most expensive defender, formerly the most expensive goalkeeper, and an £85 million striker who can't get in the team. And the winning goal was scored by Salah, their most well-rewarded player ever. But to put it all down to numbers undervalues the role played by Klopp and others, just as Klopp's misdirection distracts us from the achievements of Guardiola and his team. If it was just about money, anyone could do this. Well, there you go, guys. That's the Martin Samuel piece. I think, obviously, the City chairman the other day reiterated, we saw quotes from that, didn't we, about, we're not being used as an excuse by other club. Klopp chooses to be an idiot. He works to his disciples, of course he does, and all. Many journalists, obviously not Martin Samuel, are sucked into it, and just to get the old clicks and money, because that's all it's down to, will put out this rubbish, and it creates a bad atmosphere, which we saw with now, obviously, the atmosphere between City and Liverpool. It's becoming fairly toxic, not perhaps on the pitch as much, but certainly off the pitch, where City and Liverpool fans are probably at the lowest as far as sort of, what's the word? There's certainly no respect there, is the guy. So, and you can blame people like Klopp for causing this in the first place. Absolutely shocking. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Please let us know your comments. It'd be great to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Please, until we meet again, that's one thing, don't we? Please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Bye for now.